William was driving his Model Y to the farmer's market in Churchville, Maryland. He was waiting to turn left at an intersection with a blind hill in the approaching traffic lane. He turned when there was a gap in the oncoming traffic, and just as he finished the turn, he heard a metal crunching sound behind him. A pickup truck had attempted to make the same left turn, but didn't see a car coming over the hill toward him. The car smashed into the right side of the rear of the pickup, spinning it around. William rushed over to check on both drivers. Thankfully, the airbags had deployed in both cars and nobody was hurt. They called 911 and the responding police officer reviewed the Teslacam videos in William's Tesla. The pickup driver admitted that he'd messed up and took full responsibility. This Model Y owner was driving in Brampton, Canada when he witnessed the driver of a gray SUV who appeared to have been distracted, losing control and driving right into another vehicle. The other car then crashed into a barrier before the SUV sped off. The Tesla owner decided to follow the SUV, flashing his headlights to signal the driver to pull over. Unfortunately, that backfired, and the SUV driver tried to evade the Tesla owner instead of stopping. After seeing how erratically he was driving, the Tesla owner decided to back off. He called the police to tell them he had video of the accident, and an officer called him a few hours later asking for the footage. The officer also stated that both parties were present at the scene, which means the SUV must have returned after running off. Alec was driving his Model S when he came across an owl sitting in the middle of the road and not moving. It stood its ground no matter how close he got to it. He disengaged autopilot at the last second by hitting the brakes and swerving into the oncoming lane to avoid the owl. Early one morning, Alex was driving his Model 3 to work in Munich, Germany when a BMW 3 Series and a truck experienced some sort of disagreement. It all started in a construction zone and culminated a few miles later in these rather dangerous maneuvers, especially considering the weather conditions. After this, both vehicles kept driving peacefully. Jerry was driving his Model Y in Omaha, Nebraska when he stopped for a car making a turn. The car behind him wasn't paying attention and ended up going off-road. Well, it wasn't so much off-roading as it was getting stuck in the ditch. Craig was driving his 2-week-old Model 3 when the car in the neighboring lane changed lanes without looking and sideswiped him. An insurance claim was filed and the Teslacam footage clearly proved that the other driver was at fault, so his insurance covered the repair bill, which totaled 8,500 Australian dollars, about 6,400 United States dollars. The replacement parts were available, but it still took 3 weeks in the shop for the repairs to be completed. Patty got back to his Model 3 and found this Sentry mode event of a Mercedes driver who evidently knew he was being watched. Zach was driving to see a movie with his girlfriend when the blue Subaru in front of him was hit by another driver who ran the red light. Actually, at first it looked like it was the Subaru that was going to run the red light, but it was some sort of rolling start, and here comes the crash. The driver that ran the light tried claiming that her light was green and that the young girl driving the Subaru was at fault, but when Zach showed her the video, there wasn't much of an argument. Chris was heading to work at 5 a.m. one morning, and he had a smooth drive until he got to his exit and slowed down. Suddenly, a pickup truck in the fast lane blew out his tire and spun all the way into Chris's lane where he was hit on the driver's side. Chris tried to call the police, but they never came. Instead, they called him back and told him they were busy managing another major accident nearby, so they couldn't respond. The other driver didn't have insurance. Luckily, Chris had the Teslacam footage as evidence, and he had uninsured motorist coverage on his own insurance policy, so his insurance covered the repair bill. Brent was driving his Model Y in Commerce City, Colorado. He just passed a Dodge Dart that was swerving all over the road before they approached a red light. As Brent feared, the Dodge Dart driver plowed into the stopped traffic at full speed. Brent estimates that it was traveling at over 40 miles per hour when the impact occurred. Brent stopped to call 911 and check on the other drivers. Everyone was okay, and the police determined that the Dart driver had been drinking and arrested him at the scene. Joe was driving his Tesla when he noticed a slow-moving vehicle in the right lane that was holding up traffic. Suddenly, it moved to the far left lane, causing an accident. Joe later submitted the Teslacam video to the state police and found out that the slow car was stolen and the woman driving it had been arrested. Bridget was driving her Model Y in stop-and-go traffic. When she looked in her rearview mirror, she started to worry that the BMW behind her was approaching way too fast. She looked forward again to check how close she was to the Honda in front of her. That's when she felt an impact. Fortunately, she was able to steer to the right when she was hit and avoided hitting the Honda in front of her. It was actually Bridget's husband Dennis who sent us the video, and he also told us their kids watch Wham Baam every week. After they heard about their mother's accident and making sure she was okay, the first thing both kids wanted to know was if it was a Honda that had hit their Tesla. They were slightly disappointed to hear it was a BMW bump, but they were still very impressed that their mother had avoided bumping into the Honda. Stephen was heading home when a car cut him off. He hit his horn, then watched her hit the car in front of her when it stopped for a fire department vehicle crossing the intersection. Stephen made sure to follow them to where they were exchanging information and let both of them know he had footage of the accident. Kevin was driving his Model 3 in Seattle, Washington when a truck was trying to turn right across a bus lane. Unfortunately, a Lexus driver was speeding in the bus lane to cut through traffic and smashed into the truck. After the collision, Kevin says the Lexus driver and their passenger ran away and abandoned their vehicle. Brendan was working in his office when he received a notification on his phone that his Tesla's alarm had been triggered. He rushed out to find a fresh footprint on the driver's door and this Sentry mode footage. Some guy had been walking down the street talking to himself before he kicked Brendan's car for no apparent reason. Brendan brushed away the dusty footprint and thankfully there was no permanent damage. As Munn was heading back onto the highway after supercharging, he saw what looked like a normal car trying to back up the on-ramp, so he started honking at him. It turned out to be an unmarked cop car. Dave was driving home with his wife in their Model 3 on I-280 when traffic slowed to a stop before the Alamany Boulevard exit. While chatting with his wife, David heard the sound of a crash and he immediately checked his rearview mirror before instinctively flooring the juice pedal. Dave and his wife barely escaped being rear-ended. They checked on the other drivers and they were okay. Dave says it was a combination of good luck, quick reflexes, and the Tesla's power that saved them and their 5-month-old Tesla from being involved in the accident. Andrew had parked his Model 3 on the streets of Anchorage, Alaska. When he got back to his car, he found this Sentry mode video of 2 girls checking out his car. Andrew says they must have thought all Teslas had the cool Model S door handles, so they tried to get them to pop out. That's when one of the girls ended up stepping in a hole, almost falling down on the sidewalk. Phew, that was a close one. Okay guys, before we roll this next video, I need to give YouTube a quick message. This is not a real person, it's a doll. Please, don't take the video down. Okay, let's roll the clip. Pete was driving in Austin, Texas around Halloween and noticed this truck with an extra passenger. That's a pretty intense Halloween decoration. Stephen was on his way to the vet with his dogs when a stray Honda didn't see him and rushed out to turn left. Steven stomped the accelerator and his Tesla's instant torque saved him as he slipped by unscathed. Honda bump avoided. We already love Sentry mode, but the guys in the next video are taking it to a whole new level. This video is from AutoJohn in Germany. They drove around Germany for several months and approached every Tesla they could find. They performed in front of every Tesla parked in an open space and left a card for the owners with a link where they could upload their Sentry mode footage. They didn't know if the Tesla owners would send in any clips or even check their recordings, but the result is epic.
When my body tells me I'm impatient, I know that this is just anticipation. Time is running and we're out of information to understand about the end, because there's something so compatible. It doesn't matter where you go, it fills your heart and takes over control of your soul. Cause now it starts to affect your brain, and you no longer feel the pain. Nothing else will be the same when love kicks in. Everything is fine, everything is fine. Pressure bound to rise and turn on your lights. Ooh, hitting on your walls, it's all adrenaline rush. We're in a rush. Adrenaline rush. We're in a rush. Adrenaline.
Put a link to the full music video in the description. Go check it out.
Blood is pumping through my veins.